Y'all, welcome to How to Stay at Home Ec with Brett Janae. So today we're going to talk about becoming a connoisseur of your own space. If someone asked me what the number one step was to enjoying and being a part of my personal space as a home, that would be a really difficult thing because I think I've done reading to try to figure out how to do just that. I'm a pretty homey person. I love a bit of the cozy. But I think that really if you wanted to kind of break up into baby steps, how to become the master of your domain, how to become a domestic goddess or god, I would say that the way that you do that is by walking through your space. And so I just walked through my kitchen and the dishwasher is full. There are dishes on the counter. And that's kind of a common thing. I think when we do our dishes, or whenever I wash dishes in the dishwasher, and Jeremy's very helpful and he unloads it when I ask him to. But sometimes, because that has to be done every day almost, especially since we're home a lot and we eat at home, specifically because of that, I am having to do that and not pay as much attention to the other places in the house. When you use a room a lot, especially if you have a family, when you use that room, it gets messy, right? You use that room and your kids use that room, or in my case, the pets run through that room. And even if I've just cleaned it, it gets dirty again, and then you can clean it again, and then it gets dirty again. And in going through those motions on a regular basis, we tend to lose sight of some of the places in our home that are that need a little bit of extra love as well. And one of the ways that we can become masters of our domain at home is by making sure that we're not just spending time in the places that are high traffic, but that we take the time to appreciate all of the spaces in our home by walking through every space step by step. So there are a lot of books and things that you can read about taking charge of your space and connecting to the space where you spend most of your time. One of my favorite books that I've read on the subject is At Home with Madame Chic. There is a book previous to this that is Lessons from Madame Chic, and it is written by a woman who spent some time in France with a French woman who inspired her to connect to her surroundings in a more thoughtful way by almost creating a routine of enjoyment in her home and in her life and the way that she dressed and things like that. So if you're interested in picking this book up, I think it's a great read, and it really kind of teaches you how to slow down a little bit and also to be able to calculate the ways that we spend our time in our homes and to gain the most enjoyment for the least amount of work and the least amount of stress. So look it up if you're interested in learning more about home things, especially in this time as we're spending more time at home. It's really intuitive to be able to connect to our space in a positive way, and to find little tips and tricks like this series to spending time well. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing anything of fantastical note. It just means that when we say, you know what, I'd like to do something to arrive in my space and to add to my life, how can I make that happen? That you have like little things in the back of your mind where you go, you know what? I can go into my linen closet and fold all of my towels in a way that so everything looks the same, so that when I go to open up my linen closet the next time, I will be in awe of the organization, and it'll be kind of a pleasure to take out a towel and, to use it in the shower. Because it looks so nice, It's like somebody came in and organized it for me, but it was me. I did that for myself. So, about on walkthroughs. So, as I said before, I think that one of the mistakes that we make is spending a lot of time in our high traffic areas. As domestic goddesses and domestic engineers, because we spend so much time in those places, we really want them to be clean. We want the places where our eyes alight to feel good to us and to feel clear. But commonly, because we're in those spaces for long periods of time, and because we continue to go over them and clean them in the same way, even if it's like, oh, this is dirty, I have to clean it again. Oh, this is dirty, I have to clean it again. We tend to get into a habit, and we don't actually see what we're doing and the ways that we're missing the bits and pieces in our home that are causing us stress. So that is one of the reasons why I think it's very important to start at your front door, to walk outside of your house, outside of your front door, maybe even go to the sidewalk. And if you're in an apartment, same thing. Walk down the stairs or walk outside and at your apartment, and walk up to your apartment as though you're maybe arriving as like somebody who's traveling, right? Maybe you're pretending that your house is like a VRBO, and you're thinking, oh, how do I feel about this having seen it for the first time? So you walk up to your front door and you note how you feel. Do you like the way that maybe, is there a rug that says something quippy? Or is the rug kind of old and ragged? Or is it just a little bit dirty? Are there leaves stuck in the corners of your door? What about your mailbox? Is your mailbox really dirty and drab? Maybe just like a little wipe down of that will make a big difference in the way that the front of your house looks. That sort of curb appeal as you're walking forward. Are there weeds in your front beds? Or is your grass cut? Now, if you live in an apartment, you can't change that, but you can control the way that your door looks. So when you walk up to your door, like I said, is there a rug? Is there something, maybe, is there like a wreath on the door? Maybe you don't like wreaths. Maybe you just like a very clean sort of situation where you walk up and the only thing you see is a doorknob, but the door doesn't have cobwebs or anything on it. It looks lived in, it looks manicured. Open up your door. Walk into your house as though you're walking into your house for the first time, and continue doing that through every room in your house. Notice the things that you notice. If you're afraid that you're going to forget, bring along a notepad and write little notes to yourself. I don't like that there's so many things on this side table. This is a place where I like to sit, but there's so many things on this side table that it makes me feel very jumbled to look at the side table. Maybe you didn't notice that before. So like I said, you can bring a pad of paper with you, or you can bring your phone and take pictures. So take pictures of your rooms. And even if, so say like you don't want to write a notebook, you definitely don't want to be negative during this process. This is a very cleansing sort of process. And if you only want to do it one room at a time, that's just fine. The only thing is, just make sure that you're not only doing it to your high traffic areas, and don't forget closets. We tend to shove a lot of things in closets. So don't forget those low traffic areas that are hot spots for us just dropping things and shoving things and throwing things into those spaces. So you're walking through your house, you're either noting or taking a couple of pictures, and take a picture definitely of the whole room. Like if you want to take a picture of a place that you think is a hot spot, like I said, maybe, and the reason why I said my side table is because there's actually a side table in the office that I use that sometimes just gets laden with like pens and paper and little like snacks and maybe water bottle caps and maybe books and things are leaning up against it. Sometimes my laptop is there. And when I walk in, or leftover like my cloth napkins, sometimes I'll stick them in the little cubby. So there's so many things, and when I go to sit down, I have to move things in order to put my plate down if I'm like snacking on something, or if I want to put my water bottle down, or my phone, there's no room. And so that's a hot spot for me. And so that's why I was using that actually. So if I were to walk into the office right now, I would first walk into the office, see what I see. I would take a picture of maybe my hot spot, right? My spot that's on my table, my side table. And then I'll back up before I leave the room. Maybe practice a little bit of gratitude. Thank you. Enjoy the room for what it is in just one moment. I love that Jeremy and I and the pups can spend time in the office watching the Office, or watching House Hunters International. Thank you so much to whoever you're thanking for this room, because I love this room and I want this room to be everything that I need it to be. So take a moment, be grateful for something, snap a picture of the whole room so that you can kind of see it when you're leafing through these pictures later, and then walk out and walk into the next room. So if you do that through your space, you may have many rooms. You may only have a couple of rooms. Don't forget hallways. Remember to do, like I said, if you don't want to take a picture of a closet, just note that in your mind. Maybe take a picture of the closet door and just be like, this is something that I can deal with at another time. Say your little gratitude about it and go on to the next. So if you do this through your entire house, this actually has created a photo list, right? Unless you're taking it down on paper. You've got a photographic list of the things that you want to focus on in the next couple of weeks. Definitely, like when we were talking about decluttering a couple of times, some videos back, you don't want to do all of it in one day. Don't get down on yourself. We've all got hot spots, and some of us have more than others. Also, and I would almost take these and album them out. I would take a picture of, or I would take all the pictures that we made of hot spots, the places where we're like, oh man, I wish this was a little bit less cluttered. Put those in an album. Put the big pictures of all of the rooms in another album, because we're going to take a third album. Okay, we're going to make another one. So let's say you get done with that walkthrough. You've played with your gratitude. You've been super thankful for your house. And if you don't need a drink by this point and you want to do like a little bit of something for your space, pick one of the things in album number 1, which is like a hot spot. So for me today, it's going to be my side table in the office. I'm going to take all of the things off of the side table and put back intentionally the things that I want on the side table. And maybe I'll like wipe it with like something that's scented, my multi-purpose cleaner, something that smells really good. Make sure there's no dust or cobwebs, and that's that. I'm going to back up. I'm going to thank the room, and then I'm going to take a picture. And that's our third column. Now, maybe there's more in that room, but taking a picture of your hotspot before and your hotspot after, and realizing how good it makes you feel to have decluttered your space and to have become the master of that domain by knowing that when I go to sit down next time, I'm going to have the things that I need, maybe a pen, maybe some paper, maybe my favorite book. That's what's going to be on there. So I'm going to know what's on there, and I'm going to know that when I walk up to it, maybe I won't even feel anything. I'm definitely not going to feel overwhelmed by the amount of things that are on there. And just the absence of the feeling of being overwhelmed is worth all of the effort that we put in to declutter our spaces. Because we don't realize as we're going through our day-to-day, when we see a cluttered space, we don't realize how that affects the ways that our mind works and the clarity with which we think. It tends to make things really muddy when there's a lot going on. You guys will notice, and now I'm like sitting here thinking about it. I've got like a water bottle up here. I've got some of my arts and paintings that I've done over here. This little place right here has collected some stuff. And normally I don't have those things there, but because I'm at home, I'm just like, oh, I'll put this right here and I'll come back to it. Or, you know what, I'm not done with that. I don't want to put it away, but I'll just put it, I'll just put it right here, and because I'm going to do that tomorrow, and then I don't do that tomorrow. That also inspires you, and me in this case, to find a space for my artistic endeavors. This closet is that space. This is one of the doors that I would take a picture of, just the door, because I don't want to go show you guys what it looks like in there. One of the reasons why my arts is out here. So none of us are perfect. We don't all have the cleanest, decluttered spaces. We all start off in the same place, which is we live in a space. We have items and objects that have caught our eye, that have made their way into our lives, that we can find ourselves being grateful for. And we have the opportunity every day, and maybe just like a little bit every day, once you have your hot spots and your rooms, and then your remakes of your hot spots. Once we have those albums, and we can go through and we can re-look at those photos, and maybe like when you get done with a hotspot, you can delete the hotspot photo once you've found yourself grateful for having put the time in. But keep 2 and 3, keep the big room picture and the recreated hotspot, because you want to know the fruits of your labor. And also, when you look at those pictures, so maybe you noticed a hot spot and you took a picture of it. But maybe in the number 2 column, just the pictures that you took, maybe you notice on that picture, you're like, I'm looking for a little bit more flow in this room, and my eye keeps falling on that filing cabinet. I hate that filing cabinet, so you'll be able to tell in your mind, looking at these pictures as you go and you walk through your home, the ones that you've taken, and then you look at them, you will realize the things that add to your days and the things that take away. And we slowly, over time and with gratitude, find ways to release those objects, maybe to declutter our homes, to place things in a better place. So maybe it's not really that you don't want the filing cabinet, but maybe you just don't like it in that place. Maybe there's a better place for that. So that, I would say, is step number 1 in becoming a master of your domain, a connoisseur of your home. Being present, walking through, noticing day to day the things that don't take away from your energy level and the things that feed you in your space. And then working maybe a little bit every day or a little bit every other day to heal those places in your home. And the walkthroughs don't stop. I think that if you don't want to do the picture thing, so let's say you're like, Brett, that's super complicated. I don't want to do that. Okay. Walk through your home at least 3 times a week. Okay. Maybe every day. Every room. And do one thing in every room. Just maybe like that water bottle. No, that's the water bottle I've been drinking out of. So I'm going to take it out of here. But maybe you've got like a couple of water bottles. Maybe on the day when you're walking through your house and this is the room, maybe you just decide to do one thing in one room. You go, you know what? I don't like all those water bottles right there. It looks cluttery. They fall down sometimes. Take them, put them in the recycling, and be grateful that you've noticed something and that you've healed a little bit of that space, that you've given a little bit more air and clarity to your mind by decluttering. So you don't have to do the photos. The photos is a way to do it. But the walkthroughs are essential. Noticing the things that you really notice, that you want to change, and then slowly over time with gratitude, amending those things to increase your life so that you feel more connected to your space. And by doing those things, you will connect yourself to your spaces. So I hope that for you today, and with gratitude, I hope that maybe if your whole house is a lot and you don't want to do all of your house at once, like I said, it could be a lot. One room, walk in, notice what you notice, maybe pick up just a couple of things, take a picture, be done. Look at the picture later, see what you see, and let me know if you have any questions, or we can do it together or something. That could be some fun. Thank you for joining me today on How to Stay at Home Ec. I hope that this connects you to your space. I hope that you find yourself grateful through this process. If you find yourself too stressed out, there are ways to do it where it doesn't stress you out. This is not meant to stress you out. So if it stresses you out too much, we'll find another way. And I'll see you on the next episode of How to Stay at Home Ec. Big love, y'all.